Now, dahlias, they are tender annuals, but can you keep them over the winter? The answer is yes. I guess that means digging up tubers, basically the roots, and then replanting them after the last frost. But there are a few key things you need to know. So for expert advice, I requested the big guy himself, Ciscoe Morris. Hello, Ciscoe.
Hey, Amity, how are you doing today?
I'm so good. So glad to see you. It's always a great day on New Day when you're here. But I knew nothing about dahlias before today. So how do we keep them over winter? What do we do? We have to dig up these things called tubers, right?
Well, here's the thing. You don't have to dig them up. The only time I dig them up is if they get too crowded, then they stop blooming well, and you think, all right, this fall I'm going to have to dig these up and divide them, because then you can get rid of the crowding and start over, or if you want to make a lot of new ones. But here's the trick.
Okay.
So if you've got a dahlia that you love, so this one right here is a really great dahlia, and I just cut down the branches here. And one thing to note, it's hollow inside. So if you leave that like that, the rain will go in there and it'll kill your dahlia.
Okay.
So here's the trick. You got to cover them with evergreen fern fronds. So I just cut these. Yeah, and see, evergreen fern fronds have a magic quality. They repel water. They're a good insulator too. So now I don't have to do anything with that but leave it in there.
I love it.
Yeah, that's the way I almost do all my dahlias. But if they get too crowded or I just want new ones, then you gotta dig the bugger up. Woo. You know something interesting? Dahlias were not brought, they weren't introduced to Europe and America as flowers. They were food. People ate these tubers.
Really?
But,
I mean, they look kind of like a weird potato.
Yeah,
so
it's kind of, I've never eaten one, but they still, in Mexico, they grow certain ones just for food. But hey, why waste a beautiful flower by eating it, you know?
Agreed. All right, we'll have to try the dahlia tubers together one day, but how do you divide them?
Okay, so I dug this guy up. First thing I gotta do is I gotta get the dirt off this guy. So I kind of beat the liver tweedle out of it to get the dirt off already. But I just wanna, not all that gently really, get the dirt off so I can see what the heck I'm doing here, you know? All right, then, now, some people use a sharp knife. I use an old pruning saw. These things are not easy to saw through. So I'll just pick a spot, and I want to make sure that I keep some of these canes that are growing up, because that's the only place new growth's going to come from next year.
Okay, that's good to know.
And this is kind of hard work.
Got it. I hope this isn't from Mary's side of the garden. Is it? Is Ciscoe? This is not
This is from Mary's side of the garden.
Oh.
I'd say don't tell her, but she's standing there holding the iPad, so I'm in big trouble.
Uh-oh, Mary, we are not complicit in this. Oh, but maybe you'll have more dahlias. So now what do you do with that, Ciscoe?
Okay, you got to store them. So here's a bunch I dug up. I did a bunch of dividing last couple days ago. So the first thing you want to do is let that dry.
Okay.
So after you make these, you leave them somewhere where they can dry for about 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
You really want to dry out before you store them. Then what you got to do, there's a pretty good deal on wine in here. But anyway, so what you do is you just wrap each one of these in a little newspaper. And now I'm going to store that in my unheated garage.
Okay, so
these are all kind of wrapped up, and I store them. And then you want to probably plant these again in May. Now, one thing you should do is go out to your garage. I got these in my unheated garage all winter. You don't want too much humidity, and you want it cool. And now and then I'll open these up, take a look, and if they're shriveling up, and by the way, I feel each one of these, if they feel squishy, cut it off.
Okay.
But so I'll go out, and if they're shriveling up, I'll spritzer them with some water and then wrap them back up.
And then when do you plant them?
They store beautifully.
They do. And then really
Okay,
quick, go ahead.
you plant them in usually early May.
Okay. All right, early May. Ciscoe, thank you so much. Mary, thank you for helping us out. I'm sorry about your dahlias, but I'm sure they'll be beautiful next year. And Ciscoe is sharing all his dahlia tips. Just go to our website and be decent to your dahlias.
Are we going to really eat these?
Yes, Ciscoe, we're doing it.
Oh, la la.
All right.